So, what shall we talk about today? Should we talk about how I'm a Gemini? Or that I am Part Man, Part Machine?
That is nice. I am like Darth Vader.
Nah man, we're here to talk about games.
Mad Mikey Gaming.
G'day all you mad gamers, I'm Mad Mikey, I come from the bloody land down under, and in today's show, we're going to try something a bit different. So I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit nervous, but just in reaction, if you guys do watch a bit of my Monday shows, you'd notice that I've done the sort of getting to know Mad Mikey show, as well as the Why I Love series. So I thought, let's do something and just put a bit of a Mad Mikey spin on it. So it's going to be a sort of pros and cons sort of show from now on. Basically, I'm going to be mad about, so like, yeah, mad about, or I'm mad at. So obviously mad about is going to be the pros, mad at is going to be the cons. So guys, if you like the show or the new format, please give us some comments below and let me know. If you've got any suggestions, I would love to hear them. But this is sort of the format that I'm going to go with from now on. So guys, if you do also like the video, don't forget, I know you got 2 thumbs. I only want 1, so hit that like button. Share, subscribe with all your friends, and while you're at it, don't forget to tell your mother. Tell your old man. Tell your sister. Tell your brother. My cousin Nico. We've all got one of them. And tell all your friends about Mad Mikey Gaming, because they might like games. So the idea came for this when a friend actually came up to me the other day, or the other week, because I have been planning this for a while. And he sort of came up to me and said, "Hey Mikey, I don't want to fork out the money for a Nintendo Switch just yet. What would you say about the Wii U?" Now, I've suggested the Wii U to many of people over the years. A lot of people come up to me and they sort of say, hey, Christmas is coming up, a birthday's coming up. The kids want a video game console. What one should I get them? And I'll sort of obviously point them in the direction that obviously your PlayStation and your Xbox have got all the games there at the moment. But for sort of families that don't want to spend that much money on it, I've always been able to suggest to them the Wii U console. Now, there are a few mad abouts and there are a few mad hats on the console, so we're going to go through them today. So what we'll do is we'll actually start with the mad hats about the console, because there are a few, not going to lie. But guys, also don't expect any sort of video to be playing, because obviously I'm not a partner with Nintendo or anything like that. I'm not partnered with anyone. I just don't want to get any strikes or anything, especially with Nintendo. I'm really not at that stage of editing at the moment. Like, I can put the occasional picture and everything, but guys, this is purely an opinion piece, my own opinions. So if you don't agree, or you agree with some of them, don't forget, the comment section down there is for a reason, you guys. So the first thing that I want to talk about, what I'm mad at. Now, the Nintendo Wii U came out in 2012 on November. I'm not sure if it was, I'm not 100% sure if it was a worldwide release, but I definitely didn't get it straight away. Just mainly for the fact that I'd been burnt originally on the Wii console. I wasn't that much of a fan of it. It had a couple of games on there that I did enjoy playing, but overall as a console, it wasn't powerful enough. It didn't have all the games that I wanted as a gamer. I definitely did have one, and I was really sort of at that point in my life where I could only really afford to sort of keep 1 or 2 consoles, because obviously you buy consoles, you want to buy games, and I was sort of umming and ahhing really about whether I wanted to sort of introduce the 3rd console over on my big screen TV. The first thing that I was really mad about was actually Nintendo not selling the Wii U well enough. A lot of people, because the Wii was obviously marketed at casual gamers, a lot of people just thought that the Wii U gamepad was another peripheral for the original Wii. I don't think they really ever recovered from that. And then over the next sort of couple of years or something, they were trying to tell people how different it was, that it was a HD console, but they really missed the boat when they originally brought it out. Yeah, that's just Nintendo to a T at the end of the day, isn't it? They really keep all the information close to their chest, and they only hurt themselves at the end of the day. The second bit that I'm mad at, this thing. This was the actual battery that came with the Wii U for the gamepad. and it was only, what, a 1500, whatever they want to call it, and that's not even up to par with what mobile phones have got. And mobile phones very rarely last sort of a full day worth of charge. So it wasn't until I did some investigating that you could actually purchase a bigger battery for the Wii U console. So that's something that, guys, if you are considering getting into the Wii U market, definitely look at seeing if you can find a battery. Obviously, make sure it's Nintendo. You avoid any issues that may come with buying third-party batteries. But right out of the bat, when I sort of got it delivered, it was bigger, it was thicker, and you could just tell that it was obviously there to be able to be made to last longer, which it did, because when I actually started playing the Wii U console with that bigger battery, I was able to spend a lot more than 3 to 4 hours that the gamepad was giving me. And next up on the things that I'm mad at. Now, the Wii U gave you backwards compatibility with the Wii console. So you could just insert your Wii games into it. It would go into Wii mode and you'd be able to play those games. Now, the Wii console obviously had GameCube backwards compatibility. There was no backwards compatibility for the GameCube whatsoever on that console. And considering that the GameCube was probably one of their last really great consoles that sort of went into the disc era, I think that was really a missed shot that they did right there. So many great games on the GameCube, Eternal Darkness, and it was sort of really what Nintendo were wanting to do. They were wanting to come back into the mainstream. They were wanting to give the developers a reason to develop for their console by giving them a platform where they could put a lot of great games on there. And they really just failed to deliver on a lot of things in that area. I love my GameCube. And the next thing that I'm probably really mad at is not probably so much Nintendo, but it's the developers in general, because obviously they were after a high definition console. So that's what Nintendo sort of put out there. But of course, Nintendo didn't want to be the same as everyone else, which is a good thing, in my opinion. If you've got all these consoles out there that do the same thing, why am I buying a different console? So they tried to separate it, but they tried to separate in the wrong way by giving just a HD disc, which only held a capacity of 25 gig, and that really wasn't enough for what the developers were trying to do. Obviously, there were a lot of games that came out, but they couldn't just work around and get the output there. And the developers gave up. So, like, obviously, EA were the first one off there. They gave us FIFA. They gave us... yeah, it was just FIFA. And that didn't sell well on the console, so they're like, nah, that's it. If the world's best-selling sports game can't sell on a console, we don't want anything to do with it. But obviously Ubisoft, they kept at it. They gave us Watch Dogs. There was a point where I never thought that Watch Dogs was going to come out on the console, but it eventually did. And Just Dance has obviously always been a big seller for the console. I think they even still make them on the Wii to this day, to be honest. Hat off to Ubisoft. You guys are amazing. And the last bit that made me completely mad at this console was the fact that they bought out 8 and 32 gig different bloody sizes. What were they thinking? That was like one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. When they announced that, oh, it's coming out with 8 gig and this is just like the casual gamers one, I'm like, mate, 8 gig is not going to last you a console cycle. I'm sorry. And then they came out and they were like, oh, but we've got the Pro Gamer patch. Well, the Pro Gamer console, and that comes with, wait for it, guys, wait, 32 gig. Oh my Jesus Christ. I ran out of that memory as soon as I started thinking, okay, maybe I'll use this as a digital only console. So I actually went out and I bought like a 2 terabyte hard drive. Now, that has sort of lasted me the console life, but then as you guys see, I started getting back into collecting games a bit. So I really just wanted the disc copies. So that was where they lost a lot of the hardcore gamers. They only sold about 13 million, and that's only to retail stores. That's not actually units at home. But obviously there's silver linings, guys, because there are a lot of great things that I am mad about with this console. The first one being this bad boy. So the controller, when it sort of came out, I wasn't really sold on it to start with. As I said, I did do a bit of research into the console. I really wanted to just hold it in my hand. So I was lucky enough that the EB Game Store where I did buy it from, they did have a display unit on, so you could sort of grab it. And I just sort of put it in my hand. I was like, yeah, man, this feels right. It feels really good. And just the potential of this thing went so squandered, to be honest. But I really love this controller. I'm not actually a fan of having the two joysticks at the top, but once you get used to it, it actually really becomes really comfortable. And the fact that it's got some really good weight to it makes it feel really good. I'm not a fan of really lightweight controllers, not feeling like you've got anything in your hand. The Rumble Pack left a bit to be desired on this thing, but once you had it all set up, it was really good, and I did thoroughly enjoy it, obviously once I got a bigger battery for this bad boy. And the main part that sells any console that I'm totally mad about, and that is the actual game library. Not so much the third-party library, although they did have a few. It was really good, the fact that they did sort of start making these consoles for mature gamers. So when it sort of came out, you did get a lot of last-gen games, so maybe that's something that I'm a bit mad at as well, yeah. But Mass Effect was on there for the first time. Darksiders was on there for the first time. You had Monster Hunter on there, which I don't think was on any sort of previous consoles. But that was actually funnily enough, one of the main selling points there for it. And as well as the Assassin's Creed games were on there. And to be honest, playing Assassin's Creed on a Wii U console is a thing of beauty. It might not be as beautiful as the rest of the consoles, but just having no sort of overlay on that screen and having it all on the actual gamepad really made a huge difference. Now, I know that on the current gen consoles like your Xbox One and PlayStation 4, you do have that option to remove that, but then you don't have the option to see it anywhere. It's really good having it there on the actual gamepad, just at your fingertips, so you can just have a quick look down and sort of organize your map there, organize all of your weapons and everything. And even Mass Effect on here, it actually gave you a couple of extra options for your other companions in the game. So you actually had all of their powers on the left and the right. So it was just sort of like an extra button there. So that was really cool. And it was a feature that I really felt that they didn't take advantage of, because there was just a lot of times where it would mimic what was on the screen and be on there and really run your battery down. Maybe that's another thing that I would have liked to have changed on there. The fact to have an option to turn that off, that feature, and just sort of use it for the game, for the TV. But a lot of great games came out on this console, guys. You had all the Zelda remakes, which just absolutely looked beautiful. The art style never lost a beat. You had all your Mario games, so you had your Super Mario Brothers Wii U, you had your Luigi Wii U, I thought that was really awesome, the fact that they did like a year of Luigi, just sort of giving due to the man that doesn't get much attention over the years, and just give him a year. And they did such a good job with it. I wish that they'd given us more Luigi games, unfortunately. But they did do quite a lot of awesome things with him on there. Not to mention the RPG games on there. So you had your Tokyo Mirage Sessions. You had your Xenoblade Chronicles, which are really awesome RPG games. Lego City, which is coming out on all consoles now, but that was actually a really awesome Lego game. That's probably the most time I've spent on an actual Lego game. And obviously you got your Mario Brothers, your Mario Kart. Splatoon was really good. Features that you couldn't talk with your squad mates was a bit of a letdown, but it was still a lot of fun. You didn't really need a lot of conversation in that. And obviously, without saying, Project Zero was an awesome horror game on there, and a game that it's something that I haven't given enough attention to. The attention that it deserves is just a good old sitting through Halloween, taking a long weekend and just playing it at night and getting the shit scared out of you. And obviously there were, I believe Ninja Gaiden 3 was actually more definitive. There was a lot of bad load times on that game, unfortunately. But I actually really enjoy this console and would really, really advise anybody who isn't ready to make that jump to the Nintendo Switch just yet to jump on it and have some fun with an old console that you might be able to get cheaper these days. So guys, as I said, look, this is just something that I'm trying out new. If you've got any suggestions or anything that you want, anything you want me to talk about in future weeks, don't forget to hit the comment section below. But guys, that's it for me. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the gaming news opinions. Till then, guys, have a great day. Bye.